It's about 7:30 a.m. and it's cold enough to be able to see my breath. This video, I would need to try and pull the front bumper off to be able to fit the nudge bar bracket and the rumbler speakers. So first and foremost is to pull out this plastic trim. Okay. That over there, so you don't. And take the headlights back out. These are held in by two clips that physically just clip out. Look at that, one's out. So we still need to remove this, which we'll do next, I think. Now I can't remember if this is a 10 or an 11, so I guess we'll find out. Let's try 10 first, shall we? No, it's bigger, so maybe it's an 11. There we go. Then it was just the case of undoing the nut. I put my gloves on. Not getting my hands dirty then. Beautiful. And then it was straight back to the nut to carry on undoing it. Always locate these bolts in such a silly place. Ta-da! Then, got to remove this. It's just the fact of undoing this, which will then release that, like that. Undo the bulb, hold up for that, and then split up there for a sec. Oh. Whose idea was that? Well, there you go, it comes out that way. Oh. And that's off. And then we repeat the process on this side. Can we go 2 for 2 without dropping the bolt off of this one? Somebody complained at me last time I put the ratchet up there because it was on the battery, so I've tried to avoid the battery this time just so everybody's happy. If anybody knows an easier way to take these nuts on and off, let me know, because there's got to be an easier way than the way I'm doing it. So, I know from experience that there should be a bolt and a bolt in there. But no, this is the NYPD and we don't do things like that. We just jam some screws through it. Let's take them out and see what happens. And of course, why wouldn't it be the same for this side as well? Nice to see that's bolted on well. Right, let's have a look underneath. See if there's anything underneath that needs to be taken off. I think it's all. I'm going to have to take the grill off. There's 4 clips that are holding this in place. The one's these. There we go. That's not quite what I imagined. This is one of the nudge bar brackets. It's held on with a great big bolt at the back. I've got that on. Don't know whether it's right or wrong, and I presume that these holes then mount up, but I know when this was delivered it was missing a few items, so I kind of had to cobble something together. Plus it didn't fit. It wasn't designed for a 1999 car, it's designed for 2005 onwards. So let's see if we can ram a screw and bolt through there and see how we go. Gloves. With a bolt pushed through the bracket, it was just the fact then of putting a nut on the other end and tightening it up. I sped this up because it took quite a while to actually do the nut up. What we've got to do now is the same for the other side. Trying to get this side on was an absolute pig because you couldn't move it far enough over this side. So I don't know if you can see or not, there's a hole. I don't think you can see really. There's a hole, no you can't see, it's up too high. There's a hole just in there. And you have to feed the bolt, the nut, through that and try and get it to latch onto the bolt. The problem is the bolts are just long enough, so there isn't a lot of room for error. So after a lot of swearing, a lot of cussing, I finally managed to get it done. And I've mounted up, which I presume must go here. It's the only place for them. hopefully the bumper will fit. Find out when we put it back on, won't we? So next job I want to do now is the rumbler speakers. So while the front bumper's off, it just makes perfect sense. I've got easy access to everything and I can get them done. So I know the brackets are still under there for the rumbler, the actual chassis mount brackets, which is half the battle done. So yeah, we hopefully have one successful job. Suppose we'll find out, won't we? And let's see if we can get these rumblers bolted up and sorted out. And I keep saying we, it's not we, it's me, because I haven't got anybody here who's my cameraman. I have to try and do it all. So anyway, that's not your problem, that's my problem. Right, these are the rumbler chassis brackets. Luckily in my case, because we already had the chassis mounted brackets there, mounting my rumblers was much easier. So to do this, first thing I had to do was mount up these two silver half circles onto the original chassis brackets. It'd take a couple of attempts because the bolts I was trying to use were too big and wouldn't go through, and then it wouldn't line up. Once those bolts are on, it's just the fact then of tighten nice and tightly so that they won't come undone, followed by fitting the rumbler in the middle of the brackets and then squeezing the bottom together to be able to put a bolt through and tighten it down nice and tight. This did present some problems, as trying to push the bracket in when you've got a great big heavy rumbler sat in between them did prove challenging. With it all now squeezed down, it was just the fact of pinching it together and then going mad with the ratchet to make it nice and tight. Moving over to the passenger side, it was all about just rinse and repeat and doing the same process again. And I also had another problem trying to get this bracket done up nice and tight. This just left me to attach the plugs and plumbing the wire in so that it was all finished. So both rumblers are now on. Don't know whether they work or not yet, but they're on. So all I've got to do is connect the plugs up, connect some wires up. I'm not going to be able to see if it works today or not, because I've still got to do that box in the trunk. But let's get that done and then I can get the front end built back up and see if it's going to go back together. Right, it's all on. Rumblers on, brackets on. So I'm going to build the front end back up, and through the power of editing, click my fingers and it will be done. And just like that, it's back together. So crash bar is now on. It does need to be fettled a little bit. It is a little bit tight, so I'm going to have to undo it and just move it over. Not for today. Both rumbler speakers are on. So as far as I'm concerned, the two jobs I've been dreading, I've now completed. So hopefully we're a little step closer now to being done. Anyway, I'll wrap the video up here. Thank you so much for watching. If you are new to my channel, please make sure you like, please make sure you subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.